Welcome to Lively Lewis Stories.
Buckle up, because you're about to join Levi and Ivy on an adventure.
All you need is your imagination, and off we
go! Lively Lewis Stories!
The big pile of leaves in the front yard grew even bigger as Levi and Ivy raked more of them into the giant pile. They'd been working all morning helping their dad clean up the yard. "I'm tired," Levi complained. "Who knew we had so many leaves?" "I'm hungry," Ivy whined. "When is it time for lunch?" "Hang in there, guys," their dad said. "Mom is making lunch right now, and afterwards, you can both pick a treat for dessert. I really appreciate your help today." "Yay, we get a treat!" the kids shouted. Both of them had a sweet tooth and were super excited when they were allowed to choose something from the treat bowl. In fact, their mom had just filled it up the last time she went shopping, and there were some awesome goodies to choose from. But before it was time to put the leaves into the garbage bin, they asked if they could jump in them. "Of course," their dad replied. "That's the fun part about raking leaves. In fact, I'll jump in with you." With that, the three of them raced to jump into the pile of leaves, landing with a big poof as dust and leaves went flying everywhere. Over and over, the kids ran and jumped into the giant pile until they'd had enough. It was dirty, but fun. They'd had a blast. Finally, they heard their mom calling from the porch. "Time for lunch, you two! Come wash your hands so you can eat." Levi and Ivy ran inside to clean up. Their tummies were growling. They couldn't wait to dig in. Their mom had made their favorite grilled sandwiches with chips and carrot sticks on the side. Neither one of them made a peep as they scarfed down their lunches and polished them off with 2 big glasses of fresh squeezed lemonade. "Thanks, Mom," Levi said, letting out a big burp. "You're welcome," she replied. "Now, what do you say?" "Excuse me?" Levi laughed, feeling extremely proud of his manly burp. "It was yummy, Mom," Ivy said. "My tummy is so full." "I hope it's not too full for something sweet," their dad said. "After all, I promised both of you a treat for helping me this morning." With a loud squeal, the kids ran to the kitchen to get the treat bowl. They couldn't wait to pick something out. "I want the chocolate cupcakes," Levi announced. "Me too," Ivy echoed. Fortunately, there were 2 packages of cupcakes left, 1 package for each of them. They took their treats and happily skipped out to the front porch. Sitting on the glider, Ivy tried to open her package, but couldn't get a good grip. Using her teeth, she pulled on the corner of the plastic. When that didn't work, she went back to using her hands. However, the package was slippery, and she ended up dropping her treat onto the porch. It rolled between the wooden boards and slipped into the crack, falling down, down, down into the hollow area below. "Oh no!" she cried. "My cupcakes! They're all the way down there with the spiders." Her dad looked between the boards and said, "I'm so sorry, Ivy. I think they're gone for good." Immediately, Ivy started to cry. "I love chocolate cupcakes. They're my favorite." Levi easily opened his package and started to take a bite. He was super glad his treat didn't fall under the porch, but as he began to nibble on the cupcakes, he felt guilty. "Maybe I should share," he thought quietly. But just as soon as the thought entered his mind, it went away and he took another big bite of the chocolatey goodness. When he looked up, he saw Ivy's sad face. "Hey, Ivy," he said. "There are other treats in the bowl. Why don't you go pick something else?" "Yes, honey," Ivy's mom said. "You can certainly choose a different treat." But Ivy didn't want something else. She wanted the chocolate cupcakes. The other treats were okay, but they weren't her favorite. Tears ran down her face as she thought about her yummy cupcakes being eaten by spiders. Once again, the thought crossed Levi's mind, maybe I should share. But he shook the thought away and finished off the first chocolate cupcake. His dad watched him from the other side of the porch, hoping Levi would make the right decision. But when Levi started to take a bite of the second cupcake, it was evident he was not planning on sharing. That's when their dad had an idea. Hey, Levi, his dad interrupted. Levi put the cupcake down and said, "What is it, Dad?" "I've been thinking about the birthday party you and Ivy went to a couple of weeks ago. Do you remember?" Levi had thought back to that day. Their neighbor had invited both of them to his party where there was a jump house, a magic show, and ice cream cones. When Levi had accidentally dropped his ice cream cone in the dirt, Ivy had given him hers. Levi mumbled. "I guess I remember." Then Levi's mom said, "I'm thinking of last Christmas when we were decorating the tree. Remember the hot cocoa with marshmallows we had?" Levi thought back to that day. His mom had made hot cocoa while his dad hung the tinsel on the tree. However, when the kids went to put marshmallows in their cocoa, there was only enough for one of them. Ivy had given the marshmallows to Levi, saying, "It's okay, Levi. I don't need marshmallows. You take them." Yeah? Levi said softly. "I guess I remember." Looking down at his cupcake, he suddenly didn't want it anymore. Reaching across the porch, he handed it to Ivy. "Here, Ivy, you take the cupcake. I'm sorry yours fell under the porch." At once, Ivy dried her tears and smiled. "Thanks, Levi," she said. Taking a big bite, Ivy said, "Yum!" With her mouth full, she mumbled, "This is the best cupcake I've ever tasted." The family laughed as crumbs went flying out of her mouth. She laughed too, and even more crumbs went flying. Looking around at his family, Levi knew he'd made the best decision. At that moment, he remembered his teacher's words, "Sharing is caring." And he finally understood what that meant. As time went on, both Ivy and Levi learned how to share even more. When they wanted to be selfish and keep the treat or toy for themselves, they tried to think of how the other person felt. They also remembered the times others had shared with them and how happy it made them feel. In fact, their family made up a little rhyme to remind them about the importance of sharing, and it went like this. "If sharing is caring and I care about you, I'll share what I have through and through. Sharing is caring." The end. Did you learn a lesson from this story?
If so, what was it?
And parents, do your kids have a story idea?
Leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, the idea, and your kid's name for a chance to join Levi and Ivy on their next adventure. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. Come back for more.